it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Eti's internet connection is very slow. So let's hope this Facebook Live works. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. My name is Karen Boite. I am part of the Ontario Autism Coalition, and from time to time, we do Facebook Lives talking about the issues surrounding autism in Ontario. And today, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to take a little sidestep away from the politics and talk to somebody who works with our kids. So, who the heck are you?
My name is Eti, and I work at Under the Umbrella Tree Educational Services, and I run the social communications group at Under the Umbrella Tree. And essentially what we do here is we play. We play and have fun and really take the technical stuff and incorporate it into fun and play without even realizing that we're learning.
Yeah. So are you nervous?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I've never done
You
this
look
before,
nervous.
I'm not gonna lie.
You look nervous.
I'm not gonna lie.
She's an incredibly gregarious person, and now I see Eti going, which that's a very powerful feeling for me.
Does it feel good?
I'm kind of enjoying it. I have to admit, I'm kind of enjoying
I'm not
this.
a video at all. Okay, I'm gonna snap out of it.
Okay, good. Snap out of it.
I'm snapping out.
So I've got my phone here. We're going to go for an hour. People have sent me some beautiful pre-submitted questions, and when we were promoting this, we did mention potty training because I know that it's a big deal for so many parents. This primarily is going to be about play, but I do have questions about toilet training, and we'll do that towards the end. And if you're watching this later on tonight or on another day, I'll make a little note at the minute mark in case you don't want to talk about any of this play stuff. You'll know when we're going to be talking about potty stuff, toilet training. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So Eti,
Hi.
usually when we do the Facebook Lives, I give people the questions in advance
You
so they
didn't
can
give me
prepare.
anything. You didn't give me
I
anything.
said nothing to Eti because I have a surprise for you.
She has a. Oh my
Okay.
goodness, she's surprising.
So the first question.
You're awesome. That's what that bag was.
The first question came from a colleague of yours named Michelle.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out some items that are toys and games.
Okay.
And I'm going to show them to you, and I'm going to let you choose your preferred item.
Okay.
And talk about how you would begin to help a child learn to play with this item.
Perfect.
Okay?
Let's do it.
All right. So what I have here, and then we'll go to your pre-submitted questions, okay? So what I have here are some puppets.
Ooh, I like.
Okay. I'll put them aside. I have a game of
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man. I'll put that aside. I have, before I drop everything into pieces, a game of
Connect Four.
Connect Four.
You can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. Yeah. I have a book. Where's Waldo?
Amazing.
Okay.
Love it.
All right. See, look, she's already.
No, okay.
She's
now
already,
I'm feeling
yeah,
it. You brought out the toys.
I brought
now
out
I'm
the
ready.
toys. You're okay.
I'm ready now.
All right.
Okay.
And I brought a game of memory.
Beautiful.
All right. And the last thing I brought. Oh no! I'll pull out the two other things. We don't have to play with all of these toys, Eti.
No, but it's a good way to kind of
but
break
we'll
down.
just break the ice. So I have some Play-Doh and I have a kaleidoscope. Okay, so Eti, memory game.
Let me break this down
All
for
right.
a second. So what we're going to do here, so these are all different types of categories. Right
Yep.
here, you have some imaginary play. This is a really nice way to bring out language with the kids. Is there a hole in here? Do we have a hole?
There's a hole.
We have a hole.
Hi there.
How's it going?
Oh, I'm fine. How are you?
My name is...
What's your name?
My name is Tony. What's your name?
My name is Beatrice.
It's a really nice way to break it down for the kids, to incorporate the language aspect and simplicity as well. You don't have to get into. Watch how your child is connecting with the item. You know, you can incorporate the life skills and all of the play skills through the puppets, using the puppets.
So Eti, if you have a kid and you've pulled out a puppet and they're looking at this thing or not looking at the thing and like, what? There's no response. They don't want to touch it.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
That's your key. So at the end of the day, when you're looking at any type of play, you really want the child to have a connection, to want, whether it's to feel, to smell. They have something about this object is attracting them, and then that provides you the opportunity to have fun with it.
Right.
So if a child is gravitating to this dragon, whether it's using it for language purposes, whether it's using it for sensory purposes, and then once they get comfortable with it, then you can incorporate the other. You can do prepositions, go under, let's hide under the desk, let's sit on top of Karen's head, let's hide behind, and you can do it that incorporate the child into. There are so many opportunities to learn through the play.
So how can you tell if a kid likes an item or doesn't like an item?
So one would be they would pick it up. Two could be as simple as just looking at it. And then, you know, if the item were sitting on the desk and they saw that their eyes were in that direction, be like, oh, dragon. And then slowly kind of bring it up. I was kind of making a little more of this on the camera.
Yep.
So you
Okay.
can see.
Yep.
Just so here, like if the dragon was that you could. Right?
I'm still here.
Right? Let's pretend Karen.
I'll just stick my head
Hold
in.
on. Is that the one that does
No, it's fine. It's fine.
No, but I'm going to use Karen as the child, right?
Okay.
So if the child is here, you could slowly just kind of like drag it. Oh, the child's done. Toss it. Dragon's gone. We're done. If any type of negative reaction comes about, get rid of it.
So do you push then?
No,
Right.
because the idea behind the play is that you have to want it. You have to be interested in it, right?
Okay, do it again.
All children are like that, right?
All right.
So let's go like this. Right?
Okay.
And you're just kind of looking at it and then bringing it in. Dragon. Ooh, that feels soft. Dragon. Dragon gets kisses. Ooh, kisses. And then that usually then entails excitement and fun. And then you carry on from there.
Okay.
That's what we do with imaginary play.
Imaginary play.
Imaginary play.
Sounds easy.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. I take for granted that it comes naturally to me, because it's really about, as adults, we've worked all this way to be adults and to be in a certain position, then we just forget that they're kids.
Yeah.
Let's be kids, and, you know, just get on the floor, get into your comfy clothes and get on the floor with your kids and just play and be silly and let loose. Take that adult posture and get rid of it.
Can you
know,
go back in time and tell me about Eti, who was just starting out in this work? Tell me about mistakes that you think now may have been mistakes in the past in trying to engage a child in imaginative play.
When I started in the field, it was very much sitting at the desk. You know, in some places that I'd worked, we were literally contained to a room for a 3-hour session, which was not the best working environment for anybody. And now that I've, got the freedom that I have to be able to express and just kind of be, taking my strengths and applying them to my kids that I'm working with.
Right.
At the beginning, it was very discrete trial teaching. Very, very much discrete trial teaching.
What's discrete trial teaching?
Sitting at the table, touch your nose, touch your head, very, here's a token, that type of stuff. Whereas we here at Under the Umbrella, we like to incorporate all different type of teaching methodologies, because children learn differently. We all learn differently. We all retain information differently, and that's essentially how we go about teaching.
Right.
Joe Blow is not going to be the same like Bobby.
So let's move on to another toy.
Let's move on to another
You
toy.
choose a toy. I should let everybody know I'm going to go for an hour only so that we don't bore people. And I've got my timer going. All right, so
Okay, let's move on to Connect 4.
Connect 4.
Connect 4 is the one thing that I like about Connect 4 is that it's very concrete. It's very simple, but so many different things that you can learn within playing Connect 4. Colors.
Mm-hmm.
I can learn colors. If we build the Connect 4 here and put it together, you've got prepositions. In.
Mm-hmm.
You've got turn taking. Your turn.
What if I have trouble with my hands and I can't figure out how to get this in here?
So as a parent, if you're, this is just a beautiful way just to kind of get on the floor with your kids. Again, because it's so simple, help them. Help your kid do it. No problem. Here, buddy. Let's do it together. Here we go. This is how we put it in. Amazing. We put it in. Now it's my turn. So that you have prepositions there. You've got turn taking. There's lots of beautiful language. And then once they kind of get this system of just the back and forth, and if you see that they can grasp the concept where, I'll take the 4 pieces like this and I'll go, connect 4. No other pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look, we've just learned counting. Look at all these wonderful things. We've learned counting. We've learned colors, and most of the time the kids don't know that you're teaching because they're having fun playing, right? It's the I'm trying to think like that direct teaching that. Do this, do that. Let's just play.
Let's just play.
I'm sorry, I can't stop saying that word.
Let's just play.
Like
So,
really, like there's
let's say
so
you have-
much teaching in this.
Let's say you have 2 kids,
Mhm.
okay, and you are mentoring 2 kids through playing this game.
Yes.
So how do you help? And they're very different.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the kids has difficulty picking it up and
Mhm.
putting it in. Another kid has got it.
Mhm. So a lot of the times in that case, if I've got a child that's got more skill than the other, that child then learns how to teach a peer. I will then guide that child to teach how. Your perfect example, your son Charlie. When we started, he didn't know how to play a lot of our games. He couldn't grasp, and he got frustrated a lot. But now, as he started to grasp the concepts, he was like, oh. So as opposed to me teaching, I'd be like, hey, Charlie, show your friend how to do it. We actually did that today with a jumping game. It's a rope game that you wrap around your ankles and you jump in, out, in, on. A lot of the older ones might know what that is.
So tell me, what if you start playing, it seems to be going well, and then the kid just can't take it anymore?
Again, stop. Move on.
Move on.
The child is, at the end of the day, the child takes the lead. So as much as I'd like to guide the activities and get that, that consistent, let's play the same game over and over and over till you master it, that may not necessarily be the case, right? That interest is very significant. That interest is your key. That's what's keeping the child engaged in what's going on.
And how do you read if you want to try again with the game on another day, or you're going to go to a different
So in some cases,
activity?
I would probably bring them out, and then similar to what I said about the dragon, whatever the child is gravitating to. So a lot of the times, like all of us, we look within our environment and what's attracting our attention.
Hi from London and hi Bancroft. Hi guys. Okay, another toy.
All right.
Unless there's something you want to say more about Connect 4.
No, I think that's pretty much it. It's just really key to remember that play is not easy. And something simple as this, at the beginning, I would just present it to the child. Present it to them and see how they move with it. Yeah. Don't go right into, okay, take turns. Okay, you sit here. Okay, you sit. How are you going to do it? You're going to put the piece in. All right, here we go. Look, it's going in. Yeah. Awesome. You got it in. Yeah. Just keep it low key, very chill. Yeah. That is very, very important because that's where you avoid the throwing, breaking, smashing, frustration, right? We don't want to create that. We want to create this is kind of cool. This is a cool pencil. What can I do with it, right? And bring that out of the child naturally. Mm-hmm. And then you're just guiding as opposed to really teaching.
Yeah. Can you all hear us okay? Let us know. I just want to make sure you can hear because this is a low-tech environment. There's a fan going. The kids playing in the back. So let us know if you can hear.
Here we have a
next
kaleidoscope.
toy.
I haven't seen one of these in a long time. Oh my goodness. Wow, getting lost in it. I mean, this in itself, I wish I could show you guys what it looked like in here. Like, take a peek in there. That's some pretty cool stuff. You've got colors in there. As an outsider, because this is more of a one-person type of game. Mm-hmm. This is more of a stim-like type toy, like a, visually stimulating.
What's your feeling about stimming?
Nothing wrong with it. We all stim. It's just a matter of, I guess, appropriate stims, right? So, we just try to redirect so that you're still attaining that internal need, but just kind of doing it in a way that helps you as opposed to, like disruptive.
Right.
If you will, depending again on the environment that you're in.
Yeah.
Right. Here, we just try to redirect it and try and see what the function of that stimulatory behavior. So if it's like something where you could feed it with gross motor activity, right?
Right.
So if it's like something that kind of attains hyperactivity, let's go on the trampoline, let's run, let's go, let's do, right? And you're getting that fulfillment through functional activities, right?
All right. Next toy.
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
Memory. Fabulous game. Recall is a big one here, guys. Everyone's got different levels, right? So I've got some guys that can do all these 20, 30 pieces. And then I've got some guys that can do 4 pieces, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? Start off with 2 to 3 pieces.
Okay.
And sorry, a big part of the reinforcement, as opposed to like, oh, you did a good job, just the wording itself is, oh, you found it.
Right.
The intonation of your voice, oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I did it. And a lot of the times when I'm speaking with my kids, I'm giving them the language. I'm showing them the language, as opposed to say, oh, say that's amazing. Oh, no. Just give it. Just provide. Wow, I did it.
Yeah.
And then if they're imitating what you're saying, it's appropriate.
Yeah.
I found the cherry.
Well, I've watched you work for a while now, and it is like watching a ringmaster, you know. And I've seen you sitting at a table with 4 or 5 little kids, and it's quite a show. Let me tell you, Eti is so animated.
Right, and then some of my guys don't
like it.
Yeah, some of my guys don't like it, which is a challenge for me. It's a learning curve for myself.
It is. I'm sure it is. Poor Eti.
I have to like bring it down 10 notches.
Oh no.
But I'm working on it.
Okay, yeah.
I'm working on it. But like that's really where it comes from. Like this is great stuff. This memory. This one. For instance.
So this is the first time a kid has seen this game. So how do you introduce the game?
So bring out the cards, right? So bring out the cards and let's see what comes out of their mouths. How are they responding to the cards?
Okay.
What language are they initiating? And if there's no language, if you have a child that's no language, and it's, ooh, I see the bird. Do you see the bird? Show me the bird. Oh, I see a cactus. Yep.
So the kid that can't give you a verbal,
that can't expressively give it to you, can still show you.
Yeah.
They can still show you.
How do you read somebody that isn't able to say the words yet, or may in fact not be able to?
So you have the gestures.
Yeah.
There's the pointing, there's the gestures, and then if they don't have the ability to point, you can just hold. And then if you can't hold, you can place in the hand. There's always some way of a modification. And when you're reading a child, the eyes, the facial, every little indent in the face is telling you something.
Right.
And it's just a matter of stop, slow down, and just read the body language.
Right.
Just read the body language. We can tell when they're nervous. We can tell when they're sad. We can tell when they're happy. We can tell when they're anxious. You just need to slow down and take that moment.
So really slow down.
Just slow down.
So when I introduced this game to my kid, just throwing them all over. When I introduced the memory game to my kid, on the iPad, he was a genius, right? And I was like, oh my God, he's going to cure cancer. And I still believe that my son is a genius, by the way. But
which is, I agree with her. I agree.
But playing the game was really hard. And something that I just thought this was fun, right? Like I'm like, oh, he's good at this on the iPad. So here's a gateway to playing a game with my son, and it just blew up in my face over and over and over and over again. Right?
Then I would just say, forget it. I would have said it by the second time.
But I wanted him to play.
So in that case, like, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. Let's just say, besides damaging my child, that we got to a point where he was turning them over. And
let me start. So that's a skill in itself.
A skill in itself.
That's a skill in itself.
Okay.
Flipping the cards, the fine motor skill that it takes. I'm just going to hold just to flip the cards like that. That in itself is not an easy thing to do.
Now, is that something you would do for a child that has, I'm trying to get my hand in the camera, for a child that does have difficulty gripping things?
Yeah, this
so
is
you
this
put it
is
in
an
the palm
idea.
of their hand?
Yeah, and flip it. Or I'm putting it in my hand because I don't have the table.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
So
all right.
pretend my hand is the table, right?
Yeah.
Just the flipping of the card.
Yeah.
And having the cards placed beside each other and understanding that if I've got two cards, I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
Let's pretend these are matching, right? And to understand that the two cards beside each other are matching. There's a lot of skill just in that one.
Now,
step.
doesn't
That's
that bore a kid?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. And which is why you simplify. So let's do just two cards. It's a match. All right, we're all done. Let's move on to the next
Moving
game.
on to the next thing. So
Keep it simple.
now this is what you do all day long. And for somebody who's got to vacuum the house, do the shopping, has other children,
Yes.
And maybe a demanding spouse, the things that we have, wonderful spouse, all the spouses are amazing and everybody gets along great. But, so that's very daunting for a parent, who's already, I was extremely anxious. When you met me, maybe I didn't show it.
I don't know. But
I was like,
anxious. What? Karen?
Who, me?
What are you talking about?
But I was. So when you go and you used to go into people's homes, how does a parent create a space so that everybody's calm and we're just going to have a good time without huge expectations? Some of these skills take a very long time to figure out.
And that's the key, right? So when I said earlier about just slowing down, that it's very, very important. So if you were to create an environment for your child where you wanted to create a play space, like all of us do. Our kids are born, we need a playroom. We have to have a playroom. Declutter is key. Organization and one thing at a time. So a lot of the times, one of the things that we actually do here in one of my rooms, over the past year, we've accumulated a lot of toys. I don't label anything. There's no letters, there's no numbers, there's nothing. I have to find it myself, right? But that is very important. Don't label everything. Just leave it in clear bins, if anything.
Clear bins.
Bins.
I know you've been looking for that. Anybody wants to make a donation? Eti wants clear bins.
There's a specific size I'm looking for. But clear bins is a nice one because it allows you to see it, allows the kids to see it, and it's a communication opportunity.
Right.
So as opposed to, I want this, what's this? But if they see that it's the animals, I want the animals. Can I have the animals, right? If they can see it, it gives them the opportunity to request for the exact item, which then, helps expand their language.
So not to spend too much more time on memory, but what about taking turns? Like when I started doing this with Charlie and he figured out what the game was all about, well, he was just in it, but screw you, Mom, I'm not playing with you or other people.
So when you're starting with on a more simplistic step with like 2 to 4 pieces, just to kind of teach the concept, I wouldn't include turn taking.
Okay.
Just once.
So that's too much too soon.
Yeah, right. So at first you want to make sure that they understand the concept, that we're making matches, that they pair, right? Once the concept is there, you don't necessarily have to play it like memory. You can do card trading. Right? It's called memory, and it has a way that it's supposed to be played, but it doesn't necessarily have to be played that way, right? Because you can just do let's trade cards. Can I have a lemon? Now it's your turn. Can I have this? Right? So that's another way to incorporate it into, right? Because it's called a certain name doesn't necessarily mean it has to be played that specific way. Again, thinking outside the box, which is easy. Well, it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done. Breaking down the steps for
we
things.
got 3 more toys. We've got Play-Doh, we've got Pac-Man, and we've got Where's Waldo?
Let's do Play-Doh.
Okay.
Play-Doh is a really nice one. One, it's a good sensory.
Right.
Great sensory activity to do. And some excellent fine motor. So with Play-Doh, I like to get accessories. So I've got here. You want it actually? It's very calming.
Yes, I'm ready.
Very calming.
I'm ready.
Right. What you're doing right now?
Oh, what am I doing?
Rolling a ball in your
Okay.
wrist.
Yep.
That's not easy to do.
No.
That's
It's
not easy to do.
That is not easy to do.
It's not easy to do.
Yeah.
And that's a hand-eye coordination, fine motor,
Yeah.
right? Like, so if you just look into getting your kids just to do something like this, or rolling.
Right.
Rolling, sorry, I'm trying to get
Yeah.
to the camera.
Yeah.
Rolling this way. Rolling, again, we're going to pretend my hand is a table. Rolling on the table. A lot of the times I'll make up songs when I'm doing the roll, roll, roll the Play-Doh rolling in my hand.
Do you do it hand over hand, or do you demonstrate?
I will always demonstrate and I'll always show.
Right.
Again, I guess because I've been doing this for so long.
You've been doing it a while.
I just kind of know what to do. Does that make any sense?
You're here to tell us why you do what you do and what's behind it.
So
you know?
Initially, again, new thing. This is a new thing. Kid has never seen this before. What are they going to do there? Are they going to eat? No, we don't need it.
Right.
So I will get in there with my hand. So I will go hand over hand, and we will squish and squish squish.
Yeah.
And almost everything we do with the Play-Doh has a word that goes with it.
Okay.
Squish.
Oh.
Roll.
Okay.
Squish.
Right.
Squeeze.
So you're talking and you're playing.
And then if they really love it.
See, I just started squeezing because you said squeeze.
Right? And it's the same the same idea, right?
Yeah.
Let's roll the Play-Doh, roll, and then we can even get some scissors over here. We just happen to have left. We can cut.
Yeah.
Cut.
Safe scissors.
They are safe scissors. So everything you do has a word.
Yeah.
It's
connected to it.
Connected to it,
Squish.
right?
Yeah.
Squish, squeeze. Oh, another one that I love too that a lot of my kids like is poke.
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 Yeah.
And again, I'll sing that same song.
Feels nice doing it, saying it.
It's a wonderful. If you bring out and again, one color. If you're doing Play-Doh with your kids, one.
Okay.
Just one, so that you can control and contain it.
Yeah.
While you're sitting at the table,
Yeah.
because if you bring out all these colors and you've got all these toys, it becomes overwhelming for the child and overwhelming for you because you can't really engage. You want to figure out how to get this piece of Play-Doh to connect you and your child together.
Right.
And the way for you to do that is for you guys to be playing with that one piece together.
So another tip, one toy at a time.
One toy at a time.
Keep it clean,
clutter-free.
Okay.
I'm just going to keep holding this in my hand while we're talking.
So have you ever worked with OTs?
I've worked with occupational
therapists.
Yes,
so tell me about a good lesson you learned from an occupational therapist.
They've just really given me a greater understanding of how the impact of how. Sorry, I'm not getting the word properly.
It's okay. You're not being graded. Right?
I feel like I am. They've given me a better understanding of just kind of how the body works and the impact of how the outside world impacts the body. Does that make any sense? Like how this, how this. I'm having a brain fart.
That's okay. Now. Well, tell me about you've got a kid with a busy body.
Okay.
Versus a child who's kind of docile. Like you've got Tigger and you've got Eeyore.
Okay, so they've kind of given me a better understanding of how to approach these children, right? So if you have an Eeyore,
tell me exactly. Tell me about the Eeyores.
If you have an Eeyore, you're looking at more sitting on the floor and more like hugs and squeezes and just kind of gentle touches, right? Like the nice, you know, the calm feel, dim the light.
So lots of touching.
Low tone, lots of touching, and it's gentle touching.
Yeah.
And again, it's individualized, right?
Sure.
So you can have an Eeyore that wants deep. You can have an Eeyore that just wants gentle.
A little tickle.
Right? I as a therapist, I'll always try.
Yeah.
To be like, I'll always go for the tickles. I'll always go for the deep. And I can tell right away from the reaction, like, no.
Right.
Okay. Then I stop right away.
Okay.
So then it's almost like I'll give you my all, and then I'll kind of pull back and be like, okay, here's our happy medium.
Yeah.
And from the occupational perspective, they've just kind of given me the tools as to how to have a better understanding of how the
what if you have
works.
a Tigger? So an Eeyore.
So if you have a
slow down.
if you have a
Tigger,
Tigger, a lot of my kids have been Tiggers. One of their favorite thing to do is airplane. I go on my back and I have them on my feet, and we do airplane and we fly around and then we crash. So they like big crashes. They like that impact. Things that a typical child may be like, "Ow, that hurt," but for them, because they're getting that input and it feels so good.
But they're always safe.
They're always safe. No, they're always safe. But it's just it's about that it's a need.
It's a need.
It's a need.
It's a need.
They need it. It brings them comfort. It levels them. It regulates
so
them.
do you have a routine of trying to fill a need before an activity, during?
When any new child that I meet in the pairing process,
Eti's getting a phone call.
Did we lose the camera, or
No,
are we still here?
It should be still going. It's just we lost the
image.
The image.
There we go.
We're still there. Sorry, everybody. She's popular. She's very popular. I was lucky to get her.
In that pairing process, a lot of that is on the floor. When I have a new client that I'm working with, we just kind of, slither up to each other. Let's get to know each other. I will always, when you're communicating, interacting, come down to the child's level.
Yeah.
It's very, very important, because we're very big.
We're big.
We're very big.
Yeah, grown-ups are big.
Grown-ups are very big, and it's very intimidating, and it's very important. And to make that eye contact. But let them know, hi, what's your name?
I come in peace.
I come in peace.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun.
What about a piglet? What if you have a piglet?
A piglet who's very anxious, you just go in very slowly. Really, that's extra gentle, if you will.
So even more gentle than the Eeyores.
Even more gentle than the Eeyore. That's literally where you have to read every movement of the child, if they're like, it could be as simple as turning their body in. It could be as simple as the way that they give you the eye contact, right?
Right.
And in that case, a smile always works. A smile and a happy face and a gentle touch is always a nice way to be like, oh, okay. And then they may even gravitate to, a lot of the times we'll do it in the gym area, the swing, the rolling mats, all those, the trampoline, and that in itself. Then you can bring yourself and make yourself a part of that item. Yeah. So look at that. I come with the trampoline. I come with the swing. Look at that.
Auntie's got all the cool stuff. Okay. Do you want? Now we have 30 minutes, and I'm going to stop at an hour exactly. Yeah. Do you want to do more toys?
The Pac-Man is more of an independent.
Yeah. Okay. Pac-Man.
That's more of an independent thing. Great fine motor, this one specifically, because it's so tiny.
Well, there's a lot of dads out there who are dying to play video games with their kids.
You know what? So we have the Nintendo, the old school Nintendo, 1990s old school Nintendo.
Yeah.
The reason I picked that is because it's so simple, because it's up, down, jump, right? It's up, down, jump. The game concept itself is very simple.
Right.
It's concrete. It's black and white. It's easy to get.
So it's not like the Xboxes and the PlayStations with 42 different things that you have to move your fingers.
That's just, the thought of that
go
makes
old
my
school.
brain go. I go old school.
Go old school.
Simple. Simplicity is key.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for simplicity.
Yeah, and I'm sure most of the kids get better in no time.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, if my brain could comprehend those games, I get it, but I can't. Sorry, I can't do those games.
You're a pretty sharp cookie. Okay. Last thing.
Where's Waldo? I mean, this is wonderful for like I Spy. If you're going to the park in the summer, and these are some of the things that you're going to see, introducing new ideas, introducing new people, and again, through a fun, light way. Right. Through let's just hang out in bed, and follow the child's lead. Let them lead you, right? If they're turning the page and they just happen to stop over here, and it's as simple as, I see a snowball. What do you see? Where's the snowball? Again, you can get all these wonderful teaching opportunities in without even realizing it.
Yeah. But we are teaching all the time, aren't we?
All the
You know,
time,
it
all
is-
the time. And if you stop and break it down, you'll be like, wow, look at all the different complex things that have gone
It
into
is
something
extremely
as simple
complicated. Yeah.
as something as simple as just opening up a book.
All right. So we got some questions I want to read from people, and please feel free to post a question as we're going. I'm going to stop in 25 minutes, no matter what. If you find this helpful in any way, also let us know. Okay. So from Melissa. Perfect timing with Christmas holidays coming. I would love some suggestions for kids who don't seem to like anything. My son has oodles of toys, art supplies, etc., but would rather just lay around. Any suggestions on motivating them to do something, anything would be appreciated.
I wish I could ask you some questions.
Yeah, well, I happen to know this is a young man in his early teens.
Early teens.
So he's not a little guy.
Okay. And he's not into video games?
I couldn't tell you that.
That would be
I suspect not.
It would be, does he like iPad? Like,
Okay, so
I'm sorry. I find it
can
hard
we-
to believe that there's no interest. Not to
Well, yes,
shut
no.
this down.
Yeah.
There's some type of an interest.
So maybe
where
tell me how.
it may not seem
how
like
can we
something-
read? How do we read? Like if it looks like we've got an Eeyore,
If
you know,
we've got an Eeyore,
and how do we read what he likes? How do we get that spark and build on that spark?
An Eeyore would probably like similar to the Connect 4, concrete, simplistic type games. Now, she said he's got oodles and oodles of games and toys,
Right.
which most likely means that he's probably satiated from a lot of the stuff that he's got going on. So she probably just took his existing toys and kind of took them away with what we said earlier, simplicity, right? Just kind of brought in one thing at a time and paired it with her. Or does this child have siblings?
No.
So paired it with mom and dad. Pair the toy with mom and dad and really show that like the social interactions, because that could be what he's seeking, but he doesn't know how.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of the times our guys just don't know how to get that social.
They want to play, but they just don't know how.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you use one tool at a time, when I say tool, I mean games or activities, one at a time, and see if you can get that engagement in between. Right. So with Christmas coming along, honestly, I would look at simple board games, simple cause and effect games. Simon, the old school Simon, with the colors, fabulous. You can do it in the dark. You can do it in the light.
Yeah.
You have the auditory input. You've got the visual input. There's some great stuff that comes out of that.
What
game.
other old school games
and it's
would you recommend?
The Nintendo is a nice one. I would definitely go with the Connect 4 Memory. I mean, you could go with the theme that your child likes. But that's a nice thing about Memory.
Candyland or Monopoly no Candyland. Okay.
Candyland is just, it's for little people.
Yeah.
Very, very, very simple, and it's boring. I'm sorry, it's boring.
I agree, it's boring.
It's a boring game. Monopoly is a pretty complex, right? So if you feel that you can break down the steps for your child, then I would say go ahead. But it's a tricky one.
Eileen says, I would love to hear about high-functioning autism in girls, especially teens and preteen ages. I guess, how do you deal with mental inflexibility? So we got a kid
who really works with a lot of teenagers.
Not a lot of teenage girls. I've seen some around.
Some, I think, stubborn, tricky.
Yeah. Well, teenage girls are tough nuts.
Are tough to go
Tough
with.
nuts.
And a lot of it is hormones, right? A
Yeah.
lot of it is hormonal. So that's tricky. It's a part of just kind of going through the process.
Yeah.
Right? I more specific questions.
Yeah, I know. Well, maybe if we do this again, we can. I did try to ask people to bring out some questions, but a lot of the times when we do something new on our Facebook Lives, people don't quite know what I'm after. But I have a feeling now
they have a
better idea what I'm after. My son is obsessed with going outside, no matter if he can just. My son is obsessed with going outside, no matter if he can just. I think come in or not. How do I get him to do the first task before he goes on to being allowed to go outside? So I guess he only wants to play outside is what I'm reading here from Krista.
He only wants to play
How
outside.
do we?
What is
How
he
can she
playing
entice
with?
him to
bring
stay
in-
inside in a blizzard?
And minus
It's
40
pouring
degrees.
rain. We're
And
not
minus
going
40
outside. You know.
degrees. And minus 40 degrees.
Yeah.
I don't know. If it's not freeze, like if it's a spring rainy day, I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm gonna
Reggie's
go
like,
outside.
"Let's go."
Like, let's do it. We're gonna play in the mud.
Yeah.
I get the first and then is a really good one, but again, it needs to be consistent throughout their day. Right, so like, if you're going to go outside, or using a timer is a really nice one. Again, consistency and follow through is
Now you sort of glazed over first and then very quickly. Now there are people who are living in Northern Ontario who have not had access to therapy for their children. First and then.
Yeah, so first
all right.
and then.
So what
right,
what the frick do you mean by that? First and then. Well, yeah, I could have done that too. Yeah.
So
first eat and then outside.
Right. That's a perfect example.
So, but he's not listening to me. He's not listening.
Again, the follow through is a big one. The follow through and the consistency is a big one, right? Because a lot of the times, all of our children will be like, "Mommy means business," like there's the parent that, you mean business and you're the fun one, right? So the parent that is the means business is the one that I usually recommend to be like, okay, this is how it should be done. So I love Play-Doh. Love Play-Doh. Play-Doh's outside. Okay, Play-Doh is outside, but I need to eat my broccoli. So first we're going to eat the broccoli and we're going to make it a very small piece. And then we get to go outside, right? It's really understanding that there are expectations in life in general, whether we like them or not. There are expectations.
Yeah.
And it's important to learn that there's that follow through.
I watched you do something one day. We were at a picnic, and one of the clients was having a really rough time with his lunch. And one of your, this is not to disparage your junior colleagues, but was having a really tough time, and the child was having a hard time, and he wanted chips. He wanted some freaking chips, and mom had packed this beautiful lunch, and poor therapist is trying to get the healthy food in before the chips. Let that. Sorry, guys. This is a working office that we're in here. So there we go. So I watched you do something that maybe a parent would consider to be a pretty crappy compromise. Okay. I don't know if you remember. You
have to remind me.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what you did.
I have to do feeding all the time.
I'll tell you what you did. So the kid wanted those chips, and you were like, okay, spoonful of soup, and then chip. Spoonful of soup, and then chip. And in 10 seconds, the kid was like, whoa, okay, I get the deal. I understand there is an agreement.
It's one for one.
Calm down, no power struggle. And, maybe a mom would be like, no, but I don't want him to have the chips. Like, sometimes you kind of have to give over.
Well, and that's the thing. There's got to be that give and take, right?
Yeah.
Like, we all as human beings, we're all working for something.
Yeah.
We're all attaining something.
Yeah.
Whether we're able to make that choice for ourselves or not, right? So in that moment, it's use it.
Yeah.
Use it as a tool. Why not?
Yeah.
Use that reinforcing edible or that reinforcing toy or that item that just makes them happy. Why not? It's not a permanent thing. It's not something that stays forever, right? It's
so you didn't spoil that boy and forever he's going to insist on having potato chips.
No, because
with his meal.
No, because eventually it almost naturally fades on its own, and like you're doing it. You're fading that out. So next time it's like, hey, let's try 2 bites. Let's try 3 bites. And then eventually you get to the point where you're eating a meal and then I can have my chips. Well, doesn't everybody have dessert?
Yeah.
It's your dessert.
I do.
Right?
Lots of it. Tara asks, how do you help a child transition from parallel play to engaging with peers? Especially if that child doesn't seem to even notice that those other children are even there. This is something that our daughter really struggled with until roughly grade 2. We didn't have ABA until roughly grade 5, and it was only 8 hours in total. So it was a lot of guesswork for us, and we never did stop to think of what changed when our daughter suddenly started to acknowledge her peers. Just thinking that other parents may be noticing this and could use tips on how to help their kiddos.
So how did she,
So
where was the changing point where she started to acknowledge her peers?
Yeah.
So she started off in a classroom environment. Was that the?
Well, I think what the mom is saying that it wasn't until the 5th grade that she started to notice her child noticing other kids. And so how could she have or how could
picked
other
up on that earlier?
Picked up on it earlier and get the kid to see that there are other people that she could choose to play with and find a way to do that.
A big part of that is having the kids play together, is being in the same room. That's a big one. Yeah. So from the age different from what I'm hearing from this question specifically, I think it was a development. Sorry. Her awareness.
Yeah.
I think all of our kids, in general, our kids on the spectrum, are aware that people are there.
Of course.
Where do they make that connection with that other child or with that other person, right? Is it that it's that other child is in their face more often, or is it, that toy that connected the two of them? It really could be any variable.
Yeah.
In this case, the biggest thing that I'm noticing is the age,
right?
The years in between. And I think the biggest difference was just the development. And a lot of the times that is the case.
Yeah.
It's just my brain and myself. I'm just not ready.
Yeah. They're just not ready.
I know you're there. I can see you, but I'm not ready.
What can you read? Like, if it's anxiety and the kid is unsure, but if they had some mentoring, how can you read that?
It's that guiding. So it's really it's the body language. The body language is a big one.
Okay.
Right, because in a lot of cases when a child is comfortable and open, the arms and the body, and they're loose and they're facing you, or they're at least facing in your direction. Yeah. Whereas if you have a child that's not as comfortable, that's kind of cautious, it would be as simple as having their leg tilted and just something that's blocking us in between, right? Yeah. Or it could be something just as this. I'm not even going to bother. Yeah. I'm going to face my back to you.
What about reading a peer? Like I'm Shelley Mitchell, who's a big mentor of mine. She's an SLP, so she was talking. She had us doing some dyads.
Yeah.
And she said that the purpose of doing dyads is 2 kids playing and then therapists shadowing the kids, and she said the purpose of doing this is not teaching the kids to play nice.
No,
it was, and the child that Charlie was paired with was a shy child, was a child who was reserved and unwilling to volunteer information, whereas Charlie's the opposite.
Right. Yes.
Right. Yes. And it's not about playing nice, but it was about being able to read the signals of the peer.
And then problem solving.
Yeah. And so even like, let's say you've got your iPad and you're playing a game, and it's, do you want to show Mateo your game? And somebody like Charlie would say yes, and then go like this.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So his body. So then, which is it? Because both are legitimate. You want to show this to your friend? Well, in order to show it to a friend, you need to present it.
Present it to the friend.
Because otherwise, they can't see it.
So a big part of that
do you mean no?
As well.
Or do you mean no?
Do
you mean? And which is it?
Problem. That in itself, it's the problem solving. That's what they are learning there. Right? To understand that a lot of the times, when we started working together, it's similar to sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, and that's okay, right? Yeah. It's the problem solving within that time, right?
But that's a very sophisticated thing, right?
It's a tricky one.
Reading a playmate, giving the signals that you want play,
and that in itself, learning those steps is a beautiful thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Because that will help you as you mature and as you get older, and help you in the world.
So for the parent, that's it's pretty heartbreaking to drop your kid off at school and see them in a corner and not able to engage, and the other kids are playing, and the only thing a parent can think of is say, go play, go play.
Well, if I knew how, I would.
If I knew how, I would. Yeah,
that's a very,
very difficult thing for everybody.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah, it's not even just
for
kids
everybody.
on the spectrum. Listen, the kids all over.
Sure, you know,
Kids all over.
hard for the parent, hard for the child. And I'm like, this is not something you can solve like this with it. But
No.
a tip for how at home, if you're seeing that in the playground.
So if you think of some of the activities and the games that children play out in the playground, ball play is a big one.
Ball play, okay.
Ball play is a nice one.
All right.
Catch and throw.
Catch and throw.
Catch and throw. Basketball.
Basketball.
All So one of the things.
Playground activities.
Playground activities.
Yeah.
If we learn them at home with mom and dad or siblings,
right.
And then when we go to the park, tag. Tag is a great one.
Yeah.
Kids love to play tag.
Yeah.
If you teach me how to play,
You're it. That's it.
If you teach me how to play tag and break down the steps.
Yeah.
Then when I go into
What do you break down? How do you teach tag?
How do we teach tag? Let's start with, we need to, okay, first of all, usually when I start, I'll have all my students kind of lined up against a wall.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you're it. Wham. Okay. What do you do?
Line up against the wall. First we decide who wants to be it.
Yeah.
So most of the kids will either raise their hand and say, I do. So whoever wants to be it will then go across to the other side of the room and they'll count to 10. And then while they're counting to 10, the other kids are some are wandering, some are running, so I get a kind of a mixed combo. And then the kid that's it, I'm guiding them. So I'm behind them and we're running together and we're moving to the left and we're moving to the right and we're going for, oh my God, we're going to catch him. Oh my God. And I've got my arms around their arms and then we do that. I got you. And then we do the transition phase out. That's fun. That's how I would do it.
What about basketball?
But it's a nice way. Basketball, we break down the steps. So we do the, again, I like to have grounding spots for stuff like that. So I'll use a stool or a chair, and then there's generally a wall behind. And we'll throw the ball back and forth. Practice that throw till you get like a nice fluid back and forth. And there's always, Eti, catch the ball. Charlie, catch the ball. We need to remind our friends that we're about to throw the ball because a lot of the times we'll just throw it and they'll go, and then our friend gets whipped in the face, right? So that's one way. And then once we kind of get a fluent back and forth, we'll go into dribble. Yeah. Let's dribble the ball. I'll always model. This is how we dribble. And then sometimes they'll come and take over my dribble. Sometimes, I realize, okay, we're not quite there yet. We don't quite have the skill, so I'll go from behind and my hand will be on top of their hand. And we'll bounce, and show them what does it feel like? How does it feel to bounce that ball? And then so there's that. And then once we kind of break those steps, then we go into a game.
So competence in an activity may lead to trying it with peers. So you want your kid to have as many skills as possible.
Yeah, but understand that it takes time.
Right.
It takes time. You got to slow down. Sometimes you'll pull something out and they'll just get it. Like a few weeks ago, I had a client of ours. We pulled out a skipping rope. Holy crap! This kid knows how to skip.
Yeah.
That's not easy to do.
Yeah.
That's probably one of our trickiest things that we would usually have to teach.
Yeah.
He was a master at it. He was a master at it. Like I was like, wow.
Wow.
So like a lot of the times, right? Well, and a lot of the times you wouldn't think to bring those things out.
Yeah.
Because you'd be like, I don't know. Maybe you think they're an Eeyore, but they're a Tigger. Maybe they're a Tigger and they're an Eeyore.
Yeah.
It's really about just getting to know your child, getting to know what their wants and needs and quirks and things that irk them.
Yeah.
And then when you get there, then there's so many things out there. And don't go and buy millions and millions of don't do that. Really, just start slow, one thing at a time. Yeah. If you're going to spend that, it's a matter of spending that money all at once or spending that money over a few weeks' time.
Yeah.
So
I promised some talk about potty training. We have 6 minutes.
Potty training. Okay.
Potty training. There were a lot of questions about potty training. I'm not going to read them because that would take up the entire 6 minutes.
Okay.
But all right. So how do you know a kid is ready? Now, don't tell me anything about charts.
No, I'm not telling you anything about
and
technical.
timing and any of that.
No,
crap.
none of that stuff.
So how do you know when they're ready? Or does it matter? And it's just mom is ready, so we're gonna do it because mom's always ready.
That definitely is a factor.
Mom,
I mean, look, you want to take age into consideration because there's appropriate.
Right.
Yeah. You don't want your child wearing a diaper at 7, 8 years
How,
old. That you're talking about the social and the playground and being out with friends. Like if you're walking around with a diaper, that's going to make you,
And Shelley, I'll quote Shelley again. Like with toilet training, she said, "Well, toilet training is actually very social for your neurotypical children, right?
Well, that's how my daughter did it. She saw the other kids. They're just like, what? I want to do that.
Yeah, and the big party that you get and things like that. So, but for the autistic kid,
for our kids on the spectrum, it's a little trickier because you're dealing with the biological and the physiology of kind of how are things digesting because they're not necessarily on a regular diet like we are.
Right.
If you have a kid that's a major picky eater, a carbs eater will have a lot of constipation.
Yeah, we're gonna go there. The last 4 minutes, we're gonna go poo.
They'll have, it's painful.
It's painful.
Yeah.
And so maybe pushing a child to go when their
right?
body's
so you
not
have
doing it.
You have to stop and kind of assess the circumstance.
Okay.
Assess.
Maybe be thinking about what they're eating first.
Think about what they're eating.
I never even thought about that.
You've changed their diapers before. What does their stool look like?
Okay.
What does it look like? What's the texture of it, right? So if you have a constipated child,
what does that look like, Eti?
I've seen it, and it can look up to like a softball. I've had a 4-year-old push out a softball, and I'm like, I'm the therapist. You're gonna poo on the toilet. You're gonna do it. And then I was like, okay, no, never again. I'm never doing this to you again. But we don't know, right? It could genuinely be something that large, right? So you have to be cautious. Look at the diet, look at the stool samples. Like if it's a soft stool sample and it's just something of comfort, try a potty, try a toilet seat, hang out on the toilet and sing on the toilet. Like if they're comfortable enough to sit on the toilet, because we've got some kids that won't even sit on the toilet, won't even go in the bathroom.
Okay, so
baby steps.
Child won't sit on the toilet. How do we
we
calm
go into
down?
it slowly.
Okay.
We go into it slowly. Let's say,
okay. I asked your boss one time,
and what she said.
online. I said, so, how do you potty train? And she said, we potty train them.
I was
like, thanks, Lolly. So I want more.
Right. Well, and it's true because it's very individualized. It's very individual. The kid that won't go into the bathroom, we find out loves bubbles. Ooh, bubbles are in the bathroom. And then we just go in there and blow bubbles. That's it. We just get comfortable with the environment.
Do you go for pee or poo or both at the same time?
Pee first.
Pee first.
It's usually pee first. Unless most of our kids won't poo it throughout the day. They save it for home.
I know.
Home,
or the car.
Or
in my case, the car.
Right.
Yes. Not to make this about me, but
Eti
has a colleague.
I was like,
Eti has a colleague here that I called Poo Meister, and this is years of struggling, right? Years and years of hard work and being patient and perfect and loving,
right.
And then this guy you work with just says, Charlie, go poo. And he does.
And that's it.
And
sometimes it is that simple. Sometimes it is that
just
simple.
A different person.
Right? That's what it is, yeah.
And I love him and hate him with equal. Okay, enough about me.
But yes,
and my child.
Sometimes
pee first.
That's it. Pee's usually first because poo is a whole other ballgame.
And what about if the toilet is just too much, but the kid's big? Like you've got we have a lot of age ranges here, right? People think of toilet training as little children and the potties are little, so how do you reduce fear?
Again, you just try to pair the bathroom with something that's positive. So a lot of our older kids like technology. They're on the iPads. They like their games. And really, you could just pair that with the bathroom.
Right. So
That's
pee
really
and then first
take
pee,
it
then
in. No,
or
take it,
just
take
hang
it
out.
in with you. Take it in with you. Let's show.
You see, I did that
Take
when
it
the
in
kid
there.
was little, and I just managed to, because I sort of knew his body, I just managed to catch, you know, the about, and it didn't make a damn difference, you know, because I would just give him the iPad, let him sit there, do his business, you know, but to get him to just know when he needed to go, like to be aware of that sensation.
That's something that's something that's down the road. That's something that, and again, it's a tricky one because we are assuming that their brain is telling their body that this is happening.
Can you,
it's a tricky one. I'm not
without
sure
being
how you,
a doctor,
right?
Because
you're not, I don't know how,
right?
no,
you're not a doctor.
How.
You're not an OT. You know,
No.
you're a play therapist. You're an ABA therapist. So you've got to go with your best guess, I assume. You know, and
so
information that parents give you.
Well, right. So in most cases, we would track it, right? We would track it for a period of time, and then eventually, you know, you just kind of look at the data and just kind of read it and go from there. That's where
I'm just thinking about the person that doesn't have an Eti, right? You know, and
it's trial and error. You have to try. Always try. Always try new things. Always try. Because if you don't try, you don't know, right? So if I put the lid on this way and it's not working, then I'm going to put the lid on this way. Then I'm going to put the lid on this way. But at some point, this lid is going to go on, right? So it's just a matter of how. How is it going to happen? And, you know, with everything in life, there's 1,000 different ways to go out.
Yeah.
You just need to figure that.
So there isn't one ABA way of toilet training.
It's individualized. Each kid is their own individual. Their body, their needs, their wants are all different.
Yeah. Well, so we hit an hour. Just tell me one thing before we go about toileting. In your experience, how do I put this? Some kids take longer to learn some skills than others. And I want you to,
and that's okay.
I want you to make a mom out there feel a little bit better.
Okay. That is so okay.
Is it normal for you to have a 4-year-old who's not toilet trained?
Yes.
A 5-year-old?
Yeah.
A 6-year-old?
A 7-year-old?
A 7-year-old?
A 13-year-old?
Right.
You know, again, like you said, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an OT, but there is an understanding of the way the body works and the way the brain connects to the body. And some of our brains just don't do that.
Yeah.
And
how
we just have to work around.
For somebody that doesn't have an Eti, like what I would ask you if they had an Eti is to say, how important is parent input and information from home in terms of...
Very important.
Right.
It's very important. It's very important to let the people that are working with your child, teachers, EAs, daycare providers, it's very important to know them, like to let them know as to what your goals are, what you want for your child, what your expectations are for your child. Of course that's important. You're the parent at the end of the day.
And so for that isolated person, wherever you may be, is because toilet training is a big thing in our community, obviously, because it restricts the parent's ability to be in the community.
Yeah.
Right? And the older the child, the harder it is.
And it's also costly. Diapers are
costly, but
it's
it also,
costly.
the anxiety around this is huge, right? It's that you send your child to school and they say, no, he can't come because he's not toilet trained, or mom, come and clean up your kid.
Honestly, the best advice that I could give when it comes to toilet training is take a chance. Take a chance and just really stop and read your child. And if your child is going, just kicking and I'm not going in there with 2 arms and 2 legs on the wall, not having it, you know. So then you have to put the actual physicality of learning how to go to the washroom aside for now. I need to get you comfortable in this environment. I need to figure out a way how to get you. So how do we do that? And with all of our kids, they all love something. They all enjoy something. So then we pair that wonderful item with the bath. So just with the bathroom, not toilet. Just get the bathroom. Just get in there.
Make it fun.
Make it fun.
Yeah.
Make it fun.
Right.
Make it relaxing. Make it comfortable.
That's hard for parents who are under stress. It's extremely difficult.
It is. But having fun.
Okay, there's the bell. We hit an hour. We hope that you found this helpful. Charlie, do you want to say hi?
Hi. Look, there's a Pac-Man game.
Here,
Yeah,
check it
there's
out.
a Pac-Man game. There it is. It's your Pac-Man game. Okay, we're going to sign off.
Thank you so much, guys. Hope I was helpful.
Yeah, we hope that you found it helpful. I did have more questions that I'd be happy to read to Eti at another time. Give me some feedback. Was this useful? This is not part of politics. You know, it's not really what the OAC does, but we are aware that there are... Charlie, shush for a sec.
Excuse me.
Okay, goodbye. Let us know if this was helpful. That's there.
That was a great ending, Charlie. Thank you.